Ija Obinna Onwusibe. I represent the
Honorable Jimmy Benson, are you sitting properly?
Office
Please sit down properly. You are in the chamber, please.
I represent the people of Isialangwa North, Isialangwa South Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am an Ungba man from Abia State. I rise this morning on this matter of urgent public importance coming from Order 8, Rule 5. Mr. Speaker, the motion is to address the tragic death of Onumebu Richard Ihani. I seek your permission and the leave of this House to move this motion.
Honorable Jimmy Benson, can you second the first leg?
I rise to second the motion, ably moved by my good friend.
I so second. Thank you.
No.
In Ihe Autonomous Community in Isialangwa North, local government of Abia State. He was a dedicated civil servant who tragically lost his life due to torture inflicted by members of the Nigerian Navy. Mr. Onumebu, a loyal employee of the Nigerian Navy Reference Hospital, Ojo in Lagos, served diligently for 15 years and was on grade level 8, demonstrating unwavering commitment to his duties. Disturbed that on that fateful day, the fateful night of March 26, 2024, Mr. Onumebu was subjected to brutal torture for horrifying duration of 5 hours from 8 p.m. to 1 p.m. by 5 naval officers, reportedly summoned by an aggrieved lady who had issues with the deceased. This barbaric act not only robbed Mr. Onumebu of his life, but also tarnished the reputation of the Nigerian Navy and violated the fundamental human rights. Worried that measures are needed to forestall the possible breakdown of law and order by aggrieved youths protesting the tragic death and untimely death of this colleague and brother whose life was cut down at his prime. Realizing that this is the second time my constituent is being killed unconditionally by the Nigerian Navy in the past 3 months. Concerned that the circumstances surrounding Mr. Onumebu's death demands immediate attention and justice. It is therefore incumbent upon this Honorable Assembly to take decisive action to ensure justice, accountability, prevent further atrocities, and uphold the rule of law. The House now resolves, 1, to observe a moment of silence for the deceased. Mandate the Nigerian Navy to conduct a thorough and impartial investigation into the events leading to Mr. Onumebu's death, with a focus on identifying all individuals involved and holding them accountable under the law. Urge the authorities of Nigerian Navy to implement measures to prevent similar incidents of torture and abuse within the Nigerian Navy, including enhanced training of human rights and adherence to legal protocols. Provide adequate support and compensation for the family and deceased, acknowledging the irreparable loss they have suffered. Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues, I so move.
These very, very touchy and interesting matters that came up on the floor of the House this morning, all bordering on security, are worthy of deeper consideration. That's why I indicated interest. The one on the floor now, it's very unprofessional conduct by our naval officers, which I think requires deeper investigation. I would not want to be judgmental to completely condemn the action here and now, but I think it is proper for us as a parliament to investigate the circumstances behind this, because some of us, even as a legal practitioner, I have also had a similar experience from the Nigerian Navy defending a client. But I think that we should go deeper. It's not enough to condemn it and urge the Nigerian Navy to ensure that they put structure in place to avoid future occurrences. Let us investigate and find out what is actually happening. And then if there is need for legislative action to forestall future occurrence, we take such steps. Again, the issues of security, Mr. Speaker, this might be the 4th time that we will be observing 1 minute silence this morning. If you recall, in our last meeting, we were almost tagging our country, one Nigerian life, 1 minute silence. It is not enough. The most quoted section of the Constitution on the floor of this House is Section 14.2. There's hardly any week we don't rely on Section 14.2, which has to do with security of lives and property. But what are we doing as a parliament? I think that we should look at all our resolutions that has to do with insecurity, all the resolutions. Let us put them together and begin to ensure compliance with some of these resolutions. Because we arrive at resolutions day in, day out, and nothing happens. And to Nigerians, it is as if we are not doing anything or we don't really bother. I think that we have enforcement mechanism to some of our resolutions. Let us activate those enforcement mechanisms so that we begin to enforce resolutions of this House. I support this motion and pray that we carry out proper investigation in order to begin to nip these issues from the bud. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, the leadership, my honorable colleagues, what I intend pointing out is going to be a rider because the leader, minority leader, already almost stole my point. Sorry, sir. My colleague missed out referring to the Committee on Navy to see through this investigation, because if the Navy is accused of doing this, it should not just be on the table of the Navy alone as well to just go and investigate without the intervention of the House. So if I'm permitted, I want to move it as an amendment to his prayers.
Go ahead. I was trying to call his attention to that particular aspect. Since you have raised it, please go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, once again, thank you very much. The amendment to what my honorable colleague, to his prayers, is that this matter be referred to the House Committee on Navy for further legislative action. In fact, it should even be the House. I withdraw that, Mr. Speaker. No. The House Committee on Navy to investigate this matter and report back for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you.
Any seconder?
Ginger for the loss of his constituents and other honorable members that move their motions of urgent public importance on the lives of Nigerians that have been wasted, that are avoidable. I wish to sympathize with them. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, riding on the position of the minority leader, Mr. Speaker, we have been saying on this floor of the House, in as much as substantial amount of money is not going to be allocated or will continue to be allocated to these security agencies, security in Nigeria will not and never come to an end. Mr. Speaker, between 2015 to 2023, more than 19 trillion naira was spent on security and security-related matters in Nigeria. Whereas we have an alternative where we can bring in mercenaries. It was attempted during President Goodluck Jonathan. They were about to finish Boko Haram. And later on, the new president was convinced and remove them out of the country, and the insecurity keep on escalating to northern Nigeria, particularly in the northern central part of the country and to the northwest. Only God knows where it will spread in the next few years, God forbid. Mr. Speaker, as you said, we are going to have a summit. This House must have a position paper from constituents, particularly in the security-prone areas, on the issue of employing or bringing back mercenaries to finish security issues in this country so that investors can come in and invest. People can have time to go to their farms. Mr. Speaker, this is my position. If you hold no objection during the summit, we are going to organize a movement to present a position paper on the ability, on the attempt to bring mercenaries, to bring an end to this security crisis, since our security agencies have failed Nigerians. This is my position, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. On say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Navy, to Section 14.2, which is the protection of lives and properties. That's why this House Chamber has agreed or resolved to convey a legislative security summit to address all these matters, and I'm sure it will come before the end of this legislative year. So please, all these kind of happenings, we implore you, we expect you, when the time comes, for you to bring them up so that we can discuss them holistically and take position once and for all. Thank you for your contribution. Honorable Isiaka, I think you also want to contribute, right?